In Exodus 16, God is supplying their needs, right? And this chapter pretty much is about the people complaining that God was going to let them starve, with God never having any intention of letting them starve, and God supplying their needs almost in spite of them. And they are just so complaining and whining. Can you imagine how Moses had to feel at sometimes having to deal with these people? So it's in verse 13, it says, that evening, vast numbers of quail flew in and covered the camp. This is the meat that was talked about. And the next morning, the area around the camp was wet with dew. And when the dew evaporated, a flaky substance as fine as frost blanketed the ground. So quails come in, right? This is an enormous amount of birds. It says that they flew in and covered the camp. So they had meat to eat. They could kill the quail and have food. And then it continues in verse 14 about the dew. When the dew evaporated, there was a flaky substance. It was a fine flake that was on the ground that they gathered, and that they were able, as we will see, they were able to make this into bread, which we know as manna, right? We see as manna from heaven, right? So God provided meat. God provided bread for them. And so giving the bread was not really just to provide, and the meat as well, was not just to provide the physical needs. But remember, God is trying to get them to trust Him with their spiritual needs, to trust Him for their provisions in everything. And so sometimes what God has to do is, instead of heaping something on us to get us to trust Him in a more real fashion, He has to give us sometimes just what we need in the moment. He gets us through the next moment so that then we can trust Him for the next one and the one after and the next and the one after, and it flows together in how He does this. So God cares for us in stages. He doesn't give us the whole picture. He doesn't give us everything we need at once, because then what do we have to put faith and trust in? So God wants obedience. God wants trust. God wants faith. So He causes us to have to trust Him a step at a time. And so after He's provided for me, when I begin to take the next step, I know, okay, God was there last time. God will be here this time. Okay, next step. God was there that time. God will be here this time. That's how good our God is. You guys have a blessed day serving a great God.